And hello everybody, welcome back to British Stand. I've got an interesting live stream for you today as Nigel Farage has made a shock admission in a recent interview, and it has outraged and caused outrage amongst Reform voters. Essentially, Farage has claimed that he is more left-wing than the general public and most people on immigration, and that the Tories will be more right-wing than him come the next election. It's really interesting and making me feel very confused with regard to Nigel. Now, again, probably before the turn of the year, I was very much on the Reform train. I was very much looking to support them. But after the sort of Rupert Lowe stuff, a bit the stuff with Tommy Robinson, I did start to question Nigel Farage a little bit, and I said the jury's still out for me personally on Reform. I've always said that I do believe Reform are the best possible scenario right now. However, looking at this recent interview, Nigel Farage is probably suggesting that the Tories may be the best option for people that want control of our borders. Now, Nigel Farage has always been synonymous when his name is, if even the mainstream media has always been synonymous with migration and getting Britain back, or securing Britain's borders and stopping the mass amounts of boats and illegal immigration. But just over the last few months, I've had snippets, bite-sized clips on him talking about certain things, whether it be on migration subjects, and he's kind of backtracked from what he said before that. Now, this interview has came out with News Statesman, and I'll show you the article so you can fact check it all for yourself. But essentially, he appeared in this interview here for News Statesman, and this is the article here, or this is the segment here that I want to focus on. Essentially, he said Farage thinks Jenrick will almost certainly end up to the right of him on migration by the next election. He said, I suspect he'll go further. That's just my instinct for someone who wants to make noise. In fact, the Reform leader thinks he is to the left of the country on the issue. I haven't fought the change itself, provided it comes with integration. He insisted tackling to the centre in pursuit of power. Still, Farage thinks things have really shifted in the country at large as he seeks to moderate his image. The country, it seems, is radicalising, so is the Conservative Party. So he seems to think that he is on the left of migration. And as you can see there, he says, I haven't fought the change itself, provided it comes with integration. So he doesn't want to change the migration stance within the United Kingdom, albeit that's not on illegal immigration that he's talking about there. But he did speak recently, maybe about a month ago, stating that it would be impossible to do sort of mass deportations. So it makes me question where Nigel Farage's loyalties lie, what his motives are if he was to be in power, and what Reform would do. Because there's certainly something within the British politics at this moment in time that, you look at what Labour did last year. They lied to get themselves into power, and everything that they said in their manifesto they went against. Is Nigel just trying to create more voting power? You see what Reform are doing currently now with, the momentum that they've currently got, winning the local elections and all of these kind of things. Is he now trying to shift and try and take in more of those people and essentially lying? Or is essentially he just going to be the new controlled opposition? What are we getting for Reform? What is the point of the Reform Party if they're not going to be tackling the issues that their core voter base, over the 220,000 members that have signed up or whatever it is, that most of their key points on what they want is tighter borders. They want the stop of immigration, or not stop of immigration, of course, but they want controlled immigration. They want the stopping of the boats. They want mass deportations and all of these kind of things. And all of a sudden, over the last couple of months, it does feel like Nigel Farage is backtracking a lot. But if it was that side of the coin where we're talking about him lying to try and get people in through the door from Labour and all these kind of things, or left wing, or people that are in the centre, then that doesn't sit right with me, because you shouldn't lie to get yourself into a position. Regardless, I'm starting to re-question Nigel Farage in my personal opinion. I'm no stranger to saying it. I've been saying it for quite a while now here on this channel. But I do question what we're getting with the Reform Party. You know, with Rupert Lowe speaking about it as well, just the chaos that's currently going on and around the party at this moment in time. James Murdoch coming out. But the talk about Rupert Lowe saying that Nigel Farage isn't the man that people think he is and all of these kind of things, and wanting better for change, and he was the person that was in that party, makes me question it. With things like this, in interviews just like this, it makes me question what we're actually getting if we were to vote for Nigel Farage. Now, I'm eager to hear what people's thoughts are in the comment section below, because I know there's a lot of Nigel Farage supporters here on this channel, and that's perfectly fine. But we're here for debate, and we're here for conversation about things, because, you know, I do know that most people that follow this channel want secure borders. They want to control on immigration, and these points that he kind of backtracking on over the last couple of months probably doesn't sit right with the people that are probably Reform members, are probably subscribers of this channel. And I'm interested to know what people are thinking with regard to Nigel Farage and the Reform Party, especially after this saying here that he's more on the left of immigration and doesn't really want to change things. He just wants integration. Either way. A lot of people, as I'm seeing here, about Zaya Youssef, talking about him, of course, the sort of chairman of the party. A lot of people sort of think he pulls all of the strings, which is certainly an interesting point. But, of course, being the chairman, being in that position that he has been, you know, resigning, coming back again, falling out with Rupert Lowe, all of these kind of things over the last couple of months, yeah, you're probably right. The other position they could is pressure as the opposition with like a shadow cabinet, but Nigel has a habit of backing down. I've followed Nigel over the last 10 years. I'm interested to see. Terry Kent says, I'll vote for Farage if he's on the left. There is still hope for the UK. He right not take and get rid of the crap. If he shows you who he is, believe him. That's also a point that a lot of people will act on as well with regard to Nigel. But still, in the mainstream media, he's always sort of painted out in that sort of that position. Is he trying to clean up his image to get more votes? But you know, there is a saying that, oh, they could be lying, it's all a part of the master plan, but you can't do that. Well, essentially you can do. We've seen Keir Starmer do that, but it's unethical. It's not something why we have a democracy for, to just say that you're going to do this, that and the other, and then completely U-turn when you get into power. That's unfair when you make a vote. That's not something that should be happening in politics. That should not be happening if that is the case. But I actually genuinely do believe that we're just going to see a centre Reform Party, you know, kind of in the middle, obviously not as left-wing as Labour, but certainly probably there in the middle. And what he's saying there about Robert Jenrick being potentially more on the right to make more noise, I can see that. I can see that shift that the Tories are kind of making. And actually, I've always kind of talked quite highly of Robert Jenrick here on this channel. I mean, it's a shame that he's a part of the Conservative Party. But I genuinely do think he would be better. A better leader than Nigel Farage. I genuinely do believe that. And whether you trust the Tories or not, and I'm not saying go out and vote Tories whatsoever, by the way, and I'm talking about the man, I'm talking about the individual, Robert Jenrick, I do think he would be better. I think his values align more with you guys than Nigel Farage's does. He does a lot more. He's out on the ground quite a lot. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see if the Conservatives do take that sort of hard right stance and overlap Reform. It would be very, very interesting to see. I mean, there's a long way to go here, by the way. And things just keep on happening all of the time. Sarah says Nigel obviously doesn't want the top job. He's simply bowing to Zia Yusuf. Adios Nigel, hello Ben and Rupert. Where does people stand on Advance UK? Where do you guys stand with them? Could they be the new hard right party? Of course, look, they're not necessarily. They've only just started, so they're not in Parliament at this time. But, you know, would you vote... Right, let me make a poll up. Do you want Nigel as the PM? I'm interested. Let's have a look what people are thinking with regard to Nigel down in the comment section. I am interested. Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking. I'm not talking. By the way, when I'm talking about Robert Jenrick, I'm not talking about the Tories. By the way, I don't trust them whatsoever. Just to let you know, I'm just talking about the individuals. You know, if he was to go and join Reform, or he was going to join freaking Advance UK or something like that, I think he would be a very, very good leader. That's just my personal opinion on that. See him says Nigel isn't all bad. I'm interested. I mean, again, people are saying to me, look, it's the part of the master plan, but why are you coming out with these hard left stances or kind of backtracking on subjects that a lot of people initially came in through the door with Reform is, you know, getting a grip of our borders, getting a grip of even legal migration as well. You know, you can't just have an open border policy. And also talking about, you know, people talking about the Islam thing, people also talking about mass deportations. He came out recently and said that it would be impossible to do mass deportations of people here living here already illegally. So far within the poll, I mean, it's only been up for a minute, but we're starting to see the bar change. So 71% people saying no, 29% of people saying yes. Strawberry says, I'd rather Rupert was leader of Reform UK. He shows he has balls. It'll be interesting to see if Nigel is the leader of Reform UK come 2029. I do think he will be, just for my 5 cents or whatever, but it'll be interesting. It's interesting to see how much has changed in terms of almost the policy feels over the things that he says that comes out of his mouth over the last sort of 5 months. I don't know if this is to try and be politically correct and try and, you know, infiltrate a different demographic as well. I'm not too sure, but certainly it's irking a lot of people that originally voted for Reform if you go back to the summer, and certainly in the local elections. But guys, do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below with regard to what was said by Nigel Farage in this new interview, stating that he's more left-wing than most and that the Tories will likely be the hard right party come the general election.